and honestly Mukesh Bhatt came to me saying, देख बेटा अगर तू उसको आशिकी 2 बुलाएगा, I will give you 9 crores to make the film, not my price, the budget. If you make it only with newcomers, I'll give you 5 crores to make it.
Can you make a Malang 2? Is that going to happen ever?
Yeah, you know the thing is, yeah, like whether it's a Murder 2 or Ashiki 2 or whatever, and I made some sequels which for the wrong reasons also. I've done that with other films also. What I've learned, the thing is, as I said, I don't know, I don't have the answer. I'm learning still. So I've sometimes made it. What I've learned in my process in this is when I have a script is when there should be a sequel. I told him a song and these were scratch lyrics that he wrote. Some lyric writers didn't want to work on it because they were scared that it's a song about God, but it's a film called Murder 2. So they were scared that what I might shoot on it.
Right.
So they refused to write it. But he wrote it himself and that was Khuda.
और म्यूजिक एक ऐसी चीज़ है कि आप कुछ भी फील कर रहे हो, यू कैन गो टू म्यूजिक. यू नो, इफ यू आर एंग्री, फॉर एवरी इमोशन देयर इज समथिंग दैट इट विल गेट यू. तो मुझे जब कुछ समझ में नहीं आता, आई जस्ट ड्राइव टू माई स्टूडियो. मैं एक ही चीज़ करता हूँ. आई समटाइम्स व्हेन आई नीड टू बी इन अ जोन, आई ड्राइव माई सेल्फ.
हम दोनों का एम एक ही चीज़ है कि इट्स नॉट इवन अ हिट फिल्म, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. इट्स अबाउट हाउ टू अचीव दिस इमोशन विद दिस एक्टर or this story, this character actually, not even actor. He's never asked me who's acting in your film. It's not like he gave different music for Imran Hashmi or gave different music for Aditya Roy Kapoor or today the film that I'm doing with complete newcomers.
Yeah.
He never asked me who's acting in the film.
इनकी फिल्म में डायलॉग है कि हमारी अधूरी कहानी में सीन है वेयर विद्या इज विद इमरान एंड शी सेज कि एक कमी है एंड कि यहाँ पे सूखे हुए पत्ते नहीं हैं. राइट, दैट्स अबाउट द सीन, यू नो. एंड दैट वो जो पतझड़ है और वो जो जीवन का जो सूखापन है, वो इनकी मूवीज में नजर आता है. इसलिए आम आदमी भारत का इनकी मूवी से कनेक्ट करता है.
Best art is, and I kind of cheat that with him. I tell him कि वो खुदा को replace करके उसमें आशिकी डाल दो, which actually happened in a song like तुम ही हो.
Yeah.
The original lyrics was मेरी खुद ही अब तुम ही हो.
Correct.
The only contribution I had to that song is I said, can the word खुद ही become आशिकी? That is the only contribution I had at all. This was all Mithun, completely from the singer's choice to everything. His dad had worked on Ashiki 1,
Yeah.
but he didn't feel the pressure when he made Tumhi Ho. Did you feel the pressure?
We were too naive and too innocent. I don't know.
Yeah.
We were just lost in our own. हम अपने धुन में खोए हुए थे. We were in our own world and we were just enjoying what we were doing.
Since we all know that Alia is your cousin, when you see her journey right now, how do you feel as a director?
She's such a phenomenal actor and such a phenomenal talent that me as a director, unless I feel there is a role that is really living up to her, I will never try to exploit that relationship ever.
That's
You
lovely.
know, because she's. I would never do that with. I've never done that with any of my actors
Yeah.
either, but especially not with her because of being such a phenomenal talent. So I'm never going to exploit the star called Alia Bhatt, but I will always want to work with an actor called Alia Bhatt.
Hello everyone, welcome to the headline and the byline with me, Hesha Chima. Joining me for today's podcast, I feel are two people who somewhere down the line is an epitome of friendship. क्योंकि जिस industry में हम हैं, including me, I guess that just goes above success, above failure, surpassing all of it. If there are two people who stand solid and have given us constantly great cinema and great music, I'm excited to chat with Mithun and Mohit Suri. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
You know, I said this in my introduction कि हम ऐसी इंडस्ट्री में काम करते हैं जहाँ पे friendship is quite uncertain, right? It's always ऊपर नीचे, you don't know what's happening, just as success and failure is. But you guys have been like this solid pillars of great friendship, and through the years you have also managed to work together. I want to just start off by asking, when you all have creative differences, how are you all disputing those things? Does friendship come in the middle, or like how do you all tackle it?
Well, honestly, I don't think we've had creative differences.
Ever?
क्योंकि मुझे लगता है ना, there's a mutual admiration for each other. I don't think we've ever had that.
No disputes.
Yeah, like I think because Mithun kahin na kahin comes from a film family also, and he understands, and they have even including his father, they have a great. His father has worked with Bhatt Sahab and all, which goes a generation earlier for me.
Yeah.
when I don't like a song or I don't think it's right, it's not because the song is bad. It's because it's not right for my film. I think that's how they look at it. And I'm not that kind of person जो मिथुन को कभी बोलेगा कि ये धुन ये I don't know all that. I don't pretend to know it also. I don't know anything about scale, note. To be honest, मैं और मिथुन कभी I've never gone to him saying give me a blockbuster song.
But it always happens.
Yeah, we've always just gone and said this is the emotion of the character, this is the journey, and this is what I need to achieve. And he takes his time. Sometimes, yeah, he does come with a song, which I'm not saying is a bad song. You know, I think Mithun, we can release an entire album of unreleased songs,
Unreleased songs, yeah.
which will be gold, I think.
Yeah,
But
I
they're
agree.
just not songs that fit into the film. So, which I must give him credit. He always is like, you're the director, you know what's best for your film. And that's how it happens, I think.
That's his point of view. What's your point of view on this?
I completely agree with him, Isha, because what happens is कई बार ना हमको क्या कहते हैं कि वहाँ का वातावरण ही बता देता है कि गाना कितना वर्क कर रहा है. The feeling that the song creates in the room. We have, you know, my studio is sacrosanct to me and to him both. It's a place where we both don't lie to each other and we don't lie to ourselves also. So when we play a song over there, like whatever work, when he heard Ae Khuda from Murder 2 over there the first time, in middle of the song he stopped the song and he was so charged that he had something to comment, but he was so charged he actually asked me to stop the song. Is after the first antara when Ae Khuda goes high. So these kind of moments and these reactions are way too precious and they are beyond, for the lack of a better word, approvals. You know, so I think both
And
of
it
us
wasn't even just that. I remember I stopped it there. और तब गाना I think आधा बना था. Then I was wrecking in Goa, and from location I was calling him and telling him how I'm feeling. And the song kept just adding up. And he said, "Okay, no, I've got something more for that, and I've got something more for that." So I think the process was never ending.
yeah.
Which is, you know, we'd not worked with each other for 3 or 4 years in the middle, and then we worked together. But I think creative difference comes when people are deciding to work for themselves and not for a common goal. I think हम दोनों का aim एक ही चीज़ है कि it's not even a hit film, to be honest. It's about how to achieve this emotion with this actor or this story, this character actually, not even actor. He's never asked me who's acting in your film. It's not like he gave different music for Imran Hashmi or gave different music for Aditya Roy Kapoor or today the film that I'm doing with complete newcomers.
Yeah.
He never asked me who's acting in the film. He's always asked me how can this character reach from this emotion to that one.
Right.
So I think the creative differences come when people are working for themselves.
The goal is clear.
But when the goal is about getting an emotion, he tells, even at times he says, "No more, this is right." This, and I go with it. So I think because that's how you make a creative effort together, I think.
Sure.
In fact, a lot of his characters I see him only.
Which is what? Love and darkness, everything together.
Everything. I mean, if you see Aditya Roy Kapoor, if you see RJ of Ashiki 2, or you see Guru of Ek Villain, or if you see Arjun,
Krish today also. in the
Krish,
movie.
even Krish in Sayyara, or Arjun of Murder 2. I see shades of Mohit Surya, and also because I had the privilege of knowing him a little closely. Not socially. I think socially we don't really connect.
Don't.
But in the studio we don't speak about cinema, we speak about life. हम अपने एक दूसरे के जीवन के बारे में इतनी बातें करते हैं. That's how I've got a window into, I think, the purest part of the soul. You know, so that I see a lot on screen.
Okay, I want to switch this and ask you a question about Mohit. And then, of course, I'm going to do the same with you. You tell me, according to Mithun, what is Mohit Suri's sauce? मुझे पता है इनकी फिल्म्स का sauce और element क्या है. आपको क्या लगता है क्या है?
You mean sauce?
No, sauce.
Sauce.
Like, you know, like it's like a Gen Z thing. Like, what's the sauce element?
The sauce.
Yeah, like what makes it the saucy element about? What is about Mohit Suri's films and making
I think
sauce?
it's the other way
You
around.
can say your music also.
No, I think it's the other way around. I think the man doesn't believe in saucing it up. I think he believes in showing the raw heart the way it is. You know, इनके फिल्म में डायलॉग है कि हमारी अधूरी कहानी में सीन है where Vidya is with Imran and she says कि एक कमी है and कि यहाँ पे सूखे हुए पत्ते नहीं हैं. Right? That was the scene. You know, and that वो जो पतझड़ है और वो जो जीवन का जो सूखापन है, वो इनकी मूवीज में नजर आता है, इसलिए आम आदमी भारत का इनकी मूवी से कनेक्ट करता है. इट्स नॉट अबाउट सॉसिंग इट अप, दैट्स द वे आई सी इट.
So then the sauce is that only ना कि आम आदमी connect कर लेता है.
हाँ,
The
fair
The
essence,
sauce
the
is don't
emotion.
put in any sauce in the recipe.
I'm Tabasco. Oh, it's the recipe. Okay, तो आपको क्या लगता है? What is Mithun's sauce about
His
his
faith.
music, his composition? Faith?
His faith. There can't be any love that is more pure than that. The greatest work of art has been done for the Lord because it's a very pure emotion.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Basilica, whether it's Michelangelo making his paintings or whatever, it's the best art is, and I kind of cheat that with him. I tell him कि वो खुदा को replace करके उसमें आशिकी डाल दो, which actually happened in a song like तुम ही हो.
Yeah.
The original lyrics was मेरी खुद ही अब तुम ही हो.
Correct.
The only contribution I had to that song is I said, can the word खुद ही become आशिकी? That is the only contribution I had at all. This was all Mithun, completely from the singer's choice to everything. Because what did I do? I knew his emotion towards the Lord was so pure.
Yeah.
I replaced it with a lover, and that's how the song reached the heights that it did. Because there was a very one-way. There's no. I mean, it's not one way in the sense that there is two ways, but his belief system is so clean. I wish I could have that, and that's what makes him. I have a lot of. Even when he was 20 years old, or 25 or whatever, most Saturday evenings while I was going to meet him, I was interested in when will we get over and I can go out. And he was thinking about how he has to wake up next morning and go for service. It's very important to have something like this, and it shows in your art.
Yeah. You know, I recently interviewed Ritesh and I told him the same thing. I said, if anybody could discover the villain in you, it was Mohit.
Yeah.
And he's like, I so agree with that. You know, and because हमने कभी नहीं सोचा था कि this is the potential that this man has. Until today, even when he does Raid 2 and if he does
Yeah.
a villainous character, it goes back to the fact that it happened in
Yeah.
Ek Villain, right? How did you sort of get him to bring out this character in him back then? Like, what was your direction mechanism like?
Actually, Ritesh is a rich guy, like whatever. But if you see his value system, it's a very, not saying middle. I mean, very normal Maharashtrian couple, and so when telling him eat food, like he could sit cross-legged, and he used to tell me like when he was young, they used to dress up and go to watch a movie in the theater. Those values cannot be prescribed.
Yeah.
They cannot be put onto it. If you see the films that he did, even in the comedies that he did, he always played this. Even if it was a so-called sex comedy, there was always a guy. He was sweet and innocent, and his wife is dominating or whatever. So he had that value system. I just think people have not tapped it. And I said, what if he was this masti character, but if you turned it around and put an evil tint to it. I remember when he was shooting a scene also, he was very unsure because I said, he came to me, he said, what do you want me to do? And I said, do nothing. Yeah, there's a scene while there's a voiceover happening while he's killing people, but he's playing with his child. And he's like, do nothing. So I said, yeah, just do nothing. Because the character has its own evil side.
Yeah.
And we played music on the set. And as he knows, I call up Mithun in the middle of the night and I tell him, Mithun, send me a piece. Luckily for me, musicians stay awake in the night. So I call
Always
up Mithun.
happens.
Yeah.
Creative people हमेशा रात को जगे होते हैं.
No, I go to sleep.
अच्छा, you're sleeping.
Yeah. I'm an early morning guy.
Morning
okay.
guy.
I'm a 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock morning guy. But I called up Mithun in the middle of the night and said, Mithun, or somebody, like, give me a piece if a emotional scene is not working or something. And similarly, that happened with Ritesh. And when I played the music on the set, I think he understood the dark side. And then it was all magic after that. I must give it to him.
Yeah.
You cannot bring about a change in someone if that person doesn't want to change.
Sure.
And I would give credit to Ritesh to be bold enough to do that, to leave the comfort of a comic image, to play something so dark.
Right.
That takes a lot of guts.
Sure. Mithun, if I were to ask you, क्या होता है अक्सर हमारे best feedbacks and best criticism, it's always our करीबी people. Although हम तो ऐसे environment में हैं जहाँ we seek external validation, and rightly so, because that's the demand of our job. What's that one feedback, one criticism that probably Mohit gave you, which you really worked upon and you felt कि शायद ये सही बोल रहे हैं?
I mean, there's a lot because I think हमारा जो प्रोसेस है वो बेस्ड ही कन्वर्सेशन पर है. लाइक बहुत लोगों को ये बात पता नहीं होगी कि तुम ही हो जो मैंने पहले बनाया था. इट वॉज जस्ट टू मुखड़ा. सो लाइक हम तेरे बिना बह नहीं सकते. देन तेरा मेरा रिश्ता है कैसा, वहाँ पर गाना है वो संपन्न हो जाता है. So, and it was about good 3.5 minutes, and I was feeling the vibe. Arijit was feeling the vibe. We were very excited about the song. I gave it to him, so he told me, Mithun, कि वो silence has come, खामोशी आ गई है, the yearning has come. I need a little more flight. If you can give the song a little more flight. And initially I was like, नहीं मोहित गाना खराब नहीं करना. But I was thinking about it, and in that process I came up with the line of तेरे लिए ही जिया मैं. Which actually lifts up the song, and then we come back to the silence. So these kind of interactions, this Jugalbandi is actually very, very valuable to me also because it enriches the song so much more.
Sure.
So you call it criticism, you call it feedback, you call it conversation, whatever. But it's always, he will never say something that he doesn't mean.
Right.
He's very honest to what he's feeling.
So right now when Sayara was happening, did you know it was Ahan who's there in the film?
No. Most of the time I don't even know his producers.
What are you saying?
No, I swear, yeah, he didn't. He doesn't. I don't think he makes music for me
Or
that
for
way.
people, yeah.
In fact, a lot of producers come and ask me that, how is it working with Mithun? I tell them, how is it working with me? Because I don't go to Mithun separately because if there's a particular actor or producer in the film.
Yeah.
For me, many people don't know this, we make music when I'm writing the film.
Okay.
So that it's a part of the film. And by then, I don't think I really have a producer at that time.
It's after.
So, yeah.
Right. Okay, if I were to ask you, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, मुझे ऐसे लगता है because I do little bit of writing. So according to me, writing for me is a very lonely, secluded process. मतलब I need to be in my own zone and in my own headspace and own cocoon. But when I'm doing an interaction or where I'm on field, etc., it's a very immersive process where I'm sitting and interacting and talking. And so is direction, right? Like you have to be present on the set. आपको पता होना चाहिए क्या करना है. Actors, action cut, whatever. As a director and as a writer, how are you satiating these both things, and how are you then sort of merging it?
You know, once I asked Mithun, how does this tune come to your head? He thought for a bit and he said, how do you write a film? How does this idea come to your head? And that was the end of the conversation. The one thing I've learned from him, and I was a very brash, and you can see that in my movies and this thing, but even with us, we were younger, we were fighting, we were louder, we were. Few people know that he was the one who actually created, designed Aadat for me. We were yearning, and his earlier music. Then the silence came with Tumiho, and actually with Fir Mohabbat first and Hai Khuda.
Yeah.
The silence came, and I remember a very senior filmmaker called me and said, there's a dhun in you, don't lose that. So I really appreciate for music, and that dhun was Mithun. I think discipline, when it's writing, whether it's direction or whether it's making music. People have this very wrong conception that when creativity comes to you is when you should work. What I've learned from Mithun is wake up every day. I mean, whether it's in the afternoon or whether it's early morning.
Yeah.
Take that blank page and write. Maybe write rubbish, but tear the page if it doesn't happen. But the best creativity comes to you when you're disciplined. Anything you want to create, whether it's music, I mean, I would think it's the same. Whether it's writing, directing a film is like a marathon. It's one shot at a time.
It's so different from writing.
Yeah, like I remember shooting my first film, and I finished the first day. My assistant came to me, Kunal Deshmukh came to me and said, 1 down, 59 more days to go. You take each day as it comes, but it's a discipline. You wake up every morning and you do it.
Right.
I've been making films for 20 years now. I've made 14 films. I've had a crisis almost every day on the set. And I promise you, there's never been a crisis that's similar to the other one. The only way you can get through it is discipline.
Sure. Okay.
He's put that in Sayyara, when people go and watch it in the theaters. He's put this philosophy in his scenes as well.
Which is what, discipline or crisis?
Both. I think both of it, because I actually saw a scene. I can't reveal much at this
Sure.
point, but one of his characters is writing and
Yeah.
constantly tearing pages. So there's no sauce. It's like, you know, showing the struggle of the artist as well.
वही होता है ना, because when that's the whole process. When you're writing, you're in your own cocoon, and then when you're directing, so many things happen. Sometimes improv happens. Sometimes there is, I don't know. Just say you needed to be there to give him some music for an actor to emote an emotion, right?
Right.
And that's where it comes from. Music is such a core element किसी भी फिल्म के लिए या किसी भी इमोशन के लिए. मतलब अगर मुझे शादी करनी है, मुझे पता है मेरे बैकग्राउंड में तुम ही बजने वाला है, because और क्या ही बजाऊं मैं. It's that emotion, right?
It is.
And then when there's a sad song, you know, even if I want to vent out, I'm like, I need to have a song which gets my emotion out, and I feel it. It's like whatever, relieved. You tell me your own creative process and your own creative blockages. Let's say from the time you started working on films and working on songs to, let's say, your recent association with Mohit. What do you have observed about yourself जो change हुआ है खुद में for the good?
देखिए चेंज तो आई थिंक इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल टू बी द सेम एंड आई डोंट थिंक दैट्स गुड ऑल्सो वी कॉन्स्टेंटली इवॉल्व विथ
Do you have an understanding of what changed in you?
that's something I would not even want to understand, Aisha. I think, you know, being, as he said, ki every day is different. I wake up in the morning, I have a job to do, I have to show up, I have to go to my instrument.
Yeah, one of the first, most important thing in a creative process is showing up for the job.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So sometimes it takes a lot of guts. I was recently seeing a interesting interview of Lakshmikant ji,
Ji.
and he said that when he was working with Raj Kapoor Saab for the first time, he was a little hesitant to go to the baja. You know, he was like कि बाजा पे जाने के लिए, and these are because these are his own words. I can quote it back, saying कि मुझे, मैं सोच रहा था कि क्योंकि वो बहुत एहतराम के साथ करना पड़ता है. So I think it takes a lot of courage sometimes to just take the distance from where you are to your instrument or to your camera or to your pen. But I think that is the biggest challenge. The challenge is not after that.
कभी लेकिन ऐसा हुआ है कि let's say a particular composition जो आपका था which was very dear and close to you but maybe didn't get as well received as you probably imagined in your head. Has it ever happened?
It's been the reverse actually. One of my
That's a great thing, na? For which one? Now I want to know the reverse.
It's not fair to say that.
क्या हुआ लेकिन? अच्छा ठीक है, you tell
नहीं,
me.
I mean, we've never thought. आज भी मुझे कोई पूछ रहा था कि आपको मालूम पड़ जाता है. Honestly, me and Mohit, हमने जितना भी काम किया, we only know कि we've enjoyed हमने जो किया. We never thought, जब तुम ही हो हमने फाइनल मास्टर भी सुना था. We never thought कि you know कि देखो अभी दुनिया बदल जाएगी. That was never. We always felt कि नहीं, it's giving us the feeling. This is what we wanted to do. I can just say this thing that my most album which I was very not convinced of was Anwar. When I did Maula Mere Maula, I was not
And now
sure if it's going to work at all. And but the reverse happened. So that also gave me a lot of courage as an artist. कि कोई चीज़ अगर आप sure भी नहीं हो, but you want to say it, put it out there. You know how bad can it be?
Yeah, for sure. Has that ever happened with you?
The other way around. There've been a couple of films that, I mean, I'm not saying they wanted to work, but I thought they would do better than they would have. But in the long run, those are the films that people know me for. Whether it's Avarapan or whether it's, when they released it, didn't do well at the box office.
Yeah.
But today they're making a sequel for that film.
Yeah.
It was a box office dud at the time when it came out. So I did feel, I remember Mr. Bhatt called me over to his place when the film didn't do well. And he gave me a story about how when he had made Saranj for Rajshri, and they have a very analytic way of telling them about success, saying you made the film in this budget and this is the collection, this is it, and our analysis is that you know your job. I am telling you today, son, you know your job. This film will give you only in the long run.
Right.
And at that time, I was like, the film, it was tanking, and I went home upset. He said, now go to your girlfriend, my wife, who's my wife today, and be with her. I know how low you must be feeling.
Yeah.
So I genuinely liked the film and I wanted it to well. But fact is, you know, name the actor, name this thing, they all talk about that film today.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, you do have that, and it's a part. But that's what, you know, I think, you know, the problem with the generation today is that they want success immediately, which is not wrong. But sometimes when you start building brick by brick, now your foundation goes really strong.
Yeah.
I remember telling, I was upset with my career at once in my life, and I called up Tabu, the great actors who I have so much admiration for, and I said, I feel like I'm running on a treadmill. I'm just going, the speed is going faster and faster, and I'm not going ahead in life. And she said, but you're getting fitter.
That's a great answer that someone can give a person.
She said that to
Great
me. She said, go make a film with newcomers.
Right.
And you'll do that. And that was when Ashiki happened.
Yeah.
So she was right. When I ran in the field on my own, without depending on an actor or depending on anything, at that time, even to compete and make music for the great Ashiki 1,
Yeah. Guts.
we didn't take that pressure. That's the best part. We didn't want to make hit music. I never made any of them feel like we need to compete with Ashiki 1.
But I mean, just an observation. When you know Ashiki 1 is such a massive hit, right? In terms of the music, everything, performance, ek ruhu chhune wali performances thi, and so were the songs, right? And then years later, you came with Ashiki 2. At least somewhere down the line, you must have felt a little bit of a tingle, right? Ki, okay, maybe not match up to what happened in 1, but at least to live up to the expectation.
So amazingly. So I remember the same senior filmmaker who I have a lot of respect for. I don't mention. Asked me if I'm going to remix one of the songs from Ashiki 1. And at that time, I remember in my phone, I had Tumio. And I said, sir, my film doesn't depend on that.
Right.
And he genuinely sent it out of a lot of concern, saying, you have to do that. But he's the same person who told me, you have a dhun in you. So one was the producer in him, but the first one was the filmmaker in him. I mean, the director in him.
Are you comfortable naming him?
No.
Okay.
I don't think he'll be comfortable, but but also another thing happened that I did hear him out, and I did go and meet Aditya and Shraddha. Aditya, obviously, if you asked him which song from Ashiki 1, it would be a little difficult, although he's related to Rahul Roy. But his South Bombay thing, what song? And but Shraddha was just born.
Yeah.
So I understood that there was this whole pressure within the industry, and everyone was making films and directors were competing with each other. The fact was, I was 8 years old when Ashiki 1 came out. I had to make music for today, for
Right.
people connected today. His dad had worked on Ashiki 1,
Yeah.
but he didn't feel the pressure when he made Tumio. Did you feel the pressure?
We were too naive and too innocent. I don't know.
Yeah.
We were just lost in our own. हम अपने धुन में खोए हुए थे. We were in our own world and we were just enjoying what we were doing. That finally, in fact, even when I remember when I went to see the first look of the film, there was some edit to be done at the Vishesh Films office. Is when I went and I had even forgotten that it's actually Ashiki 2. Suddenly I saw Vishesh Films and T-Series present and that shot of RJ coming with the mic. I was like, oh yeah, this is Ashiki 2.
Love it. Nonchalant.
Yeah.
Best है लेकिन वही कभी ना कभी वो innocence और rawness ही
जी,
just
जी,
takes you a little ahead
जी.
and clutters out वो चला जाता है. The noise that is there, you can declutter from that
Right.
if you're not taking that pressure.
No, but I worked
Great.
hard on that.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
didn't let anyone feel that pressure.
That's great.
I didn't want to live with that pressure.
He does that a lot. Mohit really protects his musicians.
Sure.
I think one of the reasons why people say that his music is always good, not because he knows the knowledge, the technique of music,
Yeah.
but I think he understands how sacrosanct Sangeet is
हाँ.
as a vidya, as an art, and he always stands for his musicians. I think that's one of the reasons why they give him their best.
ये तो हम इमरान को भी बोलते हैं कि आपकी पिक्चरों में तो गाने तो हमें सब पता है. Like he has such great songs in his
Yeah.
films, which is a thing, right? So it's a good thing. But now, at this given point in time, where there is so much noise and so much chatter about an apparent sequel of Ashiki 2, which is still not called Ashiki right now. We don't know what it is, but this song has the name and it's got Karthik, etc. How do you see it now? Does it feel like a baby is going away? Both of y'all, because आप दोनों की ही है.
They did. The conversation does come up, but I think the reason to make a sequel should be if there is a script you have. I think probably I didn't have a script beyond that. For me, that rounded up over there. I don't know. I somewhere feel Ashiki 2 was not made that way. It was not made in a way that we were trying to use it for the title, because honestly speaking, it didn't open big when the film came out. For newcomers maybe, yeah, but not that much. It didn't open it. I mean, Murder 2 had opened bigger than
Yeah.
Ashiki 2.
That was the biggest hit of that year.
Murder 2, yeah. I mean, Ashiki grew did much better than Murder 2 in collections overall. But Ashiki opened to some 4 crores, while Murder 2 opened to 8 crores or something. But because the film was liked so much, it reached 85 crores, while Murder 2 was about 50, 60 crores or whatever. But the point is, it's not about collections. I, the whole thing is like it's about taking a title, casting a director. That film was not made that way. Ashiki 2 was not made that way. To be honest, I really wanted to make that subject, and I was making it. And honestly, Mukesh Bhatt came to me saying, "Dekh beta, agar tu usko Ashiki 2 bolayega, I will give you 9 crores to make the film. Not my price, the budget. If you make it only with newcomers, I'll give you 5 crores to make it." So we made. That was the only reason it was called that. But the story was not similar. There was no songs similar. There were no nothing. I just wanted to make that film. I was dying to make a love story after Murder 2, because I tasted a certain amount of music that only love can touch,
Right.
with Fir Mohabbat and stuff like that. That's why I wanted to make a love story after that. Uh, now I don't know how these guys, they're like getting it together. It's become a studio franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, all the best to them, and I think that's how most people do make films, and it's done well for the studio before. But somewhere I think even Mukesh Bhatt is also on a different tangent when he's thinking about how he wants to make this film. But all the best to them. I mean, I have this thing. I mean, I've worked with Anurag. I've assisted him,
Yeah.
and we talk. Even we just spoke right now when he's got Metro coming out. So I'm a big fan of his actually, and he's taught me a lot. So I don't think anyone else can do a better justice to it. But I don't know what. For me, Ashiki will always be the film that changed my life and may help me find my voice. There's a very famous. There is a story at one time. We were promoting the music of Ashiki, and there was going to be that that music thing that we had at Bankstand, Banderfort. We had that whole music launch, and the head of the T series thing told me that why don't you call your. By then, there was Imran who was always close to me. There were some actors who were stars, and Shraddha and Adi were newcomers. And they said, why don't you call them for the music launch so we get some traction with the media? So I said, yeah, no, all of them would have come probably for, because Ashiki was already in the buzz and all. And I remember when I'd heard that conversation in a car with Bhatt Saab sitting in front of me and Aditya and Shraddha, we were in this van kind of thing, and I could see the face drop on Aditya's face. Not because he was getting jealous, but it was just like, yeah, I'm still not there yet, he felt. And I like the whole theme of the film is about, finding yourself. And so I turned around to Bhatt Saab and I turned around and said that, Bhatt Saab, we've reached here so far without anything. No? Why should we depend on other people now? Doesn't it kill the whole purpose of not using a star for this? This is a newcomer franchise. No? And Bhatt Saab being Bhatt Saab said a couple of swear words and said, hell with them all. This is not exactly what he said, but he told, hell with them, don't call a single person. Because he had seen the film and he always said it's a 100 crore film. And we used to wonder what he meant because he had seen the film and we didn't have that kind. We were happy if the film just gets appreciated and this, that. But he always knew. So I think that was the spirit of how we made that film. And that's not, I didn't feel it.
Okay. Mithun, how do you feel about it? Because now it's the same thing for you also, right? It's a similar journey, similar process. Ashiki gave you also. I mean, aisa nahi ki pehle nahi tha, but it's still a cult song. And like the movie is also a cult movie right now. How do you look at it?
I think, Hisha, I was thinking when Mohit was speaking, and I think that my attachment also is to the storytelling of it, is to the experiences of Ashiki 2. And I per se right now, with whatever was happening, I do not even know what Anurag is making, what is the film. Karthik looks good, all that's fine, but I do not know what the story is. I do not know what the characters are. So I have I don't have any emotional connect with it. So I don't have that feeling of my memories, my connect is with the story and the emotional experience. For me, Ashiki 2 was a big point of redemption because when I won the Filmfare Award for Ashiki 2,
Yeah.
I dedicated it to my father, who was a music arranger on Ashiki 1. So for me, that script is so big that's something I'll carry in my heart forever. That will mean more than anything else. And I'm not connected to as a person, the way we are, we're not connected to brands per se. We're connected to experiences, and that's how we are human. So my memories are with Ashiki too, and just like as Mohit said, I think Pritam is scoring for this film, and
Yeah.
he's someone I've really looked up to. I think
Yeah,
he's
and
my
I think
senior.
Dada and Pritam actually have a great equation.
They have a great
themselves.
equation,
It's
yeah.
pretty much like how me and him are.
Correct,
So I guess
yeah.
that just makes natural sense, I think.
They've done some tremendous work together, and as music fans also, we are looking forward to it completely.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the way we look at it.
I mean, kudos to whatever is going to come in next. Like, we're all supportive, we're all a part of the industry, we all support each other's work. But sometimes it does happen, it strikes a chord in my head. कि यार मतलब ये इतना hit हो चुका था, तो maybe let's just do it with the same people again. But okay, we never know what happens next. So that's the inner fan in me, lesser than the journalist in me. But we move on from you. I want to also talk to you about the speculation around Mohit Suri's upcoming films. Like, there's just so much happening. Either you're doing one day a film with Varun Dhawan, which we're like,
No,
okay.
no, I'm not. I'm just doing one film with Yash Raj, and which is coming out on July 18th.
That's Sayara, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Sayara is the only film I'm doing. I don't have anything else in the pipeline. I'm pretty jobless after this. So if there's a job that you have to offer me,
You actually offered me a job last week yourself. He's not telling me. He always got an
well,
idea.
I'm
Yeah.
writing a film,
See.
so I've told him now I need my co-writer, which is music.
Which is music. Yeah.
So I told him that I want to come and start downloading. But yeah, that's the nature of my job, right? I have to get one film out of my system to get into another. But the only film I'm doing right now is Sayara. There are no other films. Speculation.
Too many. Can I tell you?
Yeah, I
which
heard
one?
this one with Adi and
One
Shraddha
with
also.
Aditya and Shraddha.
I've not spoken to Shraddha for like 6 months.
Yeah, and I'm
And she just
just
wished me best of luck, I think, with Sayara's announcement came.
It's crazy
And
because your keyword is if I put Mohit Suri on right now also on
Yeah.
Google, तो पहले तो मिथुन का आता ही है नाम साथ में, which is great. Love the fact that this happens. उसके बाद there is he's doing a film with Varun Dhawan, he's doing a film with
उदिता का
Aditya.
नाम बिल्कुल नहीं आता ना?
नहीं आता है,
देखा?
वो आता ही है. चलो आ रहा है ना मिथुन का ही
She's
नाम
known
आ
for
रहा
her
है.
own. But see, the thing is, I'll tell you, me and Aditya are really good friends. We like this Sunday, I was sitting at his house. So we hang out a lot, but that's not a professional relationship. In a sense, that's a personal relationship.
Yeah, it's not transactional.
It's not transactional. It's not something that I need to hang with him. I can discuss what I'm feeling, how I want, what I'm thinking of. So it's not that kind of thing. So people tend to misunderstand, even if you're playing cricket together, that they're up to something. Shraddha used to meet a lot more before, but of late we haven't got a chance to really meet. But she meets my daughter because her niece and my daughter are together, whatever. But they're people who are special to me because as Mithun is or whatever, they're always going to be special in my life. And it's not got to do whether we work together ever again. No matter what happens on the 25th of April every year, they both call me to just say thank you for Ashiki 2.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world, wherever. They might not call on my birthday. But no matter what, they will always call on that day. And it's been ever since the last 13 years or 14 years, whatever. So you can't take away that relationship or association which we've all shared together.
Yeah.
Besides that, there is nothing else I have. Sayara is all that I have at the moment. And I'm not someone. I married the woman I started dating in my first film. I've been with her for 22 years. I'm not a person who can multitask. I have to get done with one system to get into another.
Okay. Mithun, I have to ask you this as well, right? When you're working now with Mohit on Sayara, right? आपके ऑडियंस को केटर करना, the kind of music, the plot, actors, etc. ये सब हटा के, what is it that is yet for everybody else to watch?
I think.
Have you ever catered to an audience?
We've just been it. I think we've kept it very simple. I think that's what works. That what works for us, Sesha. We've never. I mean, you've put it very, very. You make it sound much more larger than life than it actually is.
But your songs are ना, look at streaming numbers. YouTube दिखा देता है कितने views हैं.
वही हम कोशिश करते कि ना देखे. We just keep it to two guys sitting and having some. I think he has a lot of black coffee.
Yeah.
That makes two of us. I think मेरे को IV drip है सिर्फ black coffee
Yeah,
की.
I guess so.
So it's just two guys sitting and creating a song, and you know, it's as good as making a song to play it to few of your friends.
And how many songs are there in Sayyara right now?
Sayyara has
It has 5 songs. One is by Mithun. It has 5 songs in total, but 8 versions and stuff like that. You know, because it's a story of a musician again.
Right, yeah. What part of that chord really stays with you? To make a story on musicians, which also has a backing of love. What attracts you about it so much?
Yeah, my best friends and people I like to hang with, I think, are musicians. I'm much like the stars of my life have been who here. I've not worked with the biggest stars. Like I haven't worked with the Khans or the big Kapoors or whatever.
By choice?
No, I haven't got it's not that I have anything against them, but I've just not got the chance. But I mean, they've been. What is apt for my film, I've cast according to that.
Sure.
I've been right sometimes, I've been wrong sometimes. But whatever it is, the stars of my life have been the musicians I've worked with. Where would I be without Thun, or whether Ankit,
Yeah.
or whether Arijit,
Arijit, yeah.
or the lyric writers like Syed Bhai, or Ishad Bhai, or all these people who are Kumar. I mean, sorry if I'm missing out on anyone in particular, but they've all been people like, who I've worked with in my their first film has been with me, and my it's always been my first experience with them. Ami Mishra. I've tried to launch one new person in every film,
Kudos. For
including in this film. And whether it's a singer, whether it's a composer, whether it's a lyric writer, I've always tried to work at that. And they've been the stars of my life. So I actually, I don't know many people do this, but when I have a rap party, or I don't only call the actors and the crew. Why is it only a rap for the crew and cast? And isn't the music directors and the singers a part of the crew?
that. Yeah.
Because for me they are.
Yeah.
So I've always kept them a part of it, and they've been the stars of my life. So maybe somewhere down the line the stories get inspired by that. Where, you bleed yourself in your art form. And I think musicians do it a lot. So I think that's why I get inspired by it, I think.
Sure. Mithun, let me ask you a slightly difficult question.
okay.
Let's say if nobody, is aware कि आपने क्या किया है, और अगर आपको इनको introduce करना है to Mithun, the composer, the music producer, whoever,
जी.
which is that one song of yours you'd pick? And either you've written it or composed it, or maybe both, just to introduce someone to your work.
I think an outer perspective would help on
Yeah.
this.
He's asking you now.
So, we didn't work together for some time in the middle because he had some contractual things that he had to handle. But I remember I was having a problem with some music director who was not appreciating me as a director. And I got out of the meeting, and surprisingly a call came on my phone. And he said, and the voice said that, "Hi Mohit, this is Mithun." So I said, "Yes, I still have your number." This after 3 or 4 years of not being in touch. He said, I'm out of my contract and we can work together. And I said, I'm coming now. And that was my first day of shoot actually, and I didn't have a song. And I went and I met him. And I think the song at that time, he had a faith change at that time, in the sense he had found his faith. And I didn't know that. And it's surprisingly, the film had the similar kind of trend or arc in it, where a guy had lost his faith, which was Murder 2. And I told him a song, and these were scratch lyrics that he wrote. Some lyric writers didn't want to work on it because they were scared that it's a song about God, but it's a film called Murder 2. So they were scared that what I might shoot on it.
Right.
So they refused to write it. But he wrote it himself, and that was Ae Khuda. I think Ae Khuda and Fir Mohabbat was a different Mithun. I mean to say, not that
Sure.
a different,
Yeah.
not a different Mithun from today. I think in those 3 years, that silence came into him. I'm not saying writing wise. He brought a certain amount of space and silence where everyone was screaming and shouting. He was talking with a whisper. It was almost Gandhian, like I will speak, but I'll say important stuff in the simplest words, and people will listen. And that's where I think would define him. I think. I mean, I think Ae Khuda and Fir Mohabbat, I think, are path breaking. I think would be. I think Mithun found himself in that time.
Yeah.
I think so.
What do you think? Do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree. There was a time that was very important, I think, for both of us as artists. He had been through a journey. We both had seen success, but then there was something that brought us to a point where we needed to sit back, catch a few breaths, and realign as artists.
Yeah.
And I feel that was divine. The way we met, हम दोबारा से मिले उस time पे, and the silence that Mohit is talking about, I think I'd like to give him also credit because हमेशा बहुत सारे लोग वो उस खामोशी को सुन नहीं पाते ना. वो बहुत सारे लोग मुझे पूछते हैं अच्छा ये ठीक है लेकिन हुक लाइन क्या है. आपको पता है 20 सालों में हमने ये वर्ड आज तक यूज़ नहीं किया स्टूडियो के अंदर. हुक लाइन, वी डोंट टॉक अबाउट द हुक, वी डोंट टॉक अबाउट ग्रूव, वी डोंट टॉक अबाउट थिंग्स. तो वो खामोशी को सुनने के लिए भी आई थिंक आपको कानों की ज़रूरत होती है. सो ही कुड हियर दैट साइलेंस एंड ही हैड द करेज टू टेक इट ऑन स्क्रीन, or take it to our seniors back then, to Bhatt Saab and Mukesh ji, and tell them that yeah, we have something that does the job.
Right.
Because they were very profound topics. A man's redemption is something that we were hardly, even during Murder 2 we were 24, 25.
No, I was 29.
I was 24. So it's very courageous of him to believe in that silence, and I think that faith both ways has really brought us so far.
जब complacency आ जाती है जो हर काम के साथ आती है, then how do you get through that?
एक्चुअली म्यूजिक
कभी आई नहीं। That's a
हाँ,
great thing.
हाँ, क्योंकि हम लोग को क्या है, हमको ना तो कुछ आता भी नहीं है, और म्यूजिक एक ऐसी चीज़ है कि आप कुछ भी फील कर रहे हो, यू कैन गो टू म्यूजिक. इफ़ यू आर एंग्री, फॉर एवरी इमोशन देयर इज समथिंग दैट इट विल केटर यू. तो मुझे जब कुछ समझ में नहीं आता, आई जस्ट ड्राइव टू माई स्टूडियो. मैं एक ही चीज़ करता हूँ. आई समटाइम्स व्हेन आई नीड टू बी इन अ जोन, आई ड्राइव माई सेल्फ. I tell my driver to sit next to me and I drive. That just gives me that much more breathing space. And by the time I reach the studio, I have a melody ready. So that kind of works for me.
Okay. Has it ever happened in your entire career where you've probably been so bogged down कि मतलब it was like a hopeless moment, but there was something or some inspiration that really cheered you up? And what was that?
I think around the same time only, just before I did Murder
Murder
2.
2.
Around the same time is when I did not work on any songs intentionally for some time. I was just, I was in an introspective zone. And I was looking for something to stir me. Because before that my music had done so well. चाहे वो बस एक पल, जहर, कलयुग, अनवर, द ट्रेन,
yeah.
वो इतना इट वाज वेरी वेल रिसीव्ड. तो मैंने देखा कि लोग कहीं ना कहीं वही चीज़ आपके सामने लेकर आते हैं. दे ब्रिंग यू बैक द सेम
I remember
एनर्जी.
him telling me the number of calls on my phone was inversely directly related to how high the position was
On the charts.
On the charts. I remember this is the line you said. So if it was number 1, that means there were 100 calls. If it was number 2, then it was 50 calls. So I remember him telling me this, and because I remember when I met him, I asked him, "Where have you been?" And he said, "Introspecting." So I remember that. He was a different man.
But don't you feel that pressure? Like introspection is so, I mean, I think थोड़ा underrated है. हमें ज़रूरत है उसकी. Time and again we should introspect ourselves. But अब क्या होता है? Because as I said even in the start, we are in an era where validation is so important. तो क्या हो जाता है कि out of sight, out of mind हो जाता है. Does that happen? Do you all take those things seriously?
I don't think.
Because relevance also is very important, right, in today's day and age. And also, if I have to ask both of y'all, from a music point of view and from a director point of view, there's so much conversation about where the industry is going post-COVID, box office, this, that, X, Y, Z. And through my journey also, मैंने जितने लोगों से बात की, everybody has given me different perspectives. For example, the one that recently clicked with me and stayed with me was when Ajay Devgan said that कि it doesn't matter what the ticket prices are. If the film is good, the music is good, the story is good, you'll pay that much and you'll go and watch it, which is actually relevant. If something is meant for OTT and if it releases on OTT, if it gathers that amount of, I don't know, rage bolo, ya eyeballs bolo, ya attention bolo, purely because of the script, people will watch it on streaming also and it will do well on streaming also. So it doesn't matter. How do you all see these things? Hence I asked relevance.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everyone pretends to be knowing what is going wrong. Then why are they not doing it? Everyone says that if you do this, then it'll work. I don't have. I just know one thing. I know to make movies, and I have not really gone out there saying For my job is I have a story, and I find a producer who I think believes in the story as much as I do. Like making a love story with Adi sir was a dream, and he himself telling me that this is the kind of film I want to make. They're coming back into love stories after really long,
Yeah.
and considering I've gone into theaters to watch films as a kid because of the Yash Raj banner or whatever.
Yeah.
But I never told them that whether this is OTT, whether this is film, which kind of thing. There was an age group that the film required. We've been honest to it. They could get any star in the world to act in this film. I mean, in this country to work. But this is a film about falling in love with the first age. So getting someone really old would be wrong. Yeah, everyone has. Somehow, I just see everyone talks like entrepreneurs today. No one's talking like filmmakers and artists anymore.
Yeah, there's too much of it.
Yeah, everyone knows what's wrong with the industry. Why aren't they doing it?
Yeah. And there's too much education to the audiences
Yeah,
also. Now.
I don't know. Someone says budget. Everyone, even artists are talking today. Like, even actors are talking like businessmen today. Even directors are talking like. I don't know. I mean, for me, I know to make a movie. I'm not being complacent about it. I've been doing it for like since I was 22 and been assisting for years before. That's more than half my age. I've been on a film set. So if my car, there's a joke with my family that my car tire gets punctured, I don't know how to fix that because I never went through that. But if you wake me up in my sleep to go shoot a scene, I'll do a pretty good job about it. I'll get the emotion right. So I think with him also, I mean, I'm not speaking for him, but the relationship has been, I tell him what I need a song for, and we make music for that. We've come from cassettes to CDs to online to streaming. I don't think the process of making music has changed. Everyone's like, it should reel, it should have more clicks, there's an algorithm. I don't know if any of that, that's all based on past success, not what's going to come out next. I mean, all the algorithms are based on what's already done well, right?
Right, yeah.
And the one thing we know that does well in art is what somebody else has not done. So yeah, I don't know where the industry is going. I don't know what this is. Are you saying that people will stop watching movies? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the theater, whether it's at home, whether it's on their mobile, wherever, they will. And similarly with music, will people stop listening to music, whether it's in a movie or not? I mean, I know Afghanistan also has folk music. They don't have movies. Music is a far bigger industry.
Yeah.
Like when the rains came here, started, and I was stuck in traffic, I played music. There was a song that we worked on together called Chal Ghar Chale, which was actually done in a romantic connotation, but we heard about in COVID, some sailors were stuck at sea, and there was a video that went viral of them singing Chal Ghar Chale. Music finds its own emotion to connect with.
It's found now with Barish also. Now every time I've opened Instagram, I get awesome ki
Exactly.
Barish nahi ho raha hai.
Exactly. Apparently, I've heard some of the streaming platforms start a playlist with my thing because of the amount of songs I have
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
rain.
On rains.
On rain.
Yeah.
And
I'm
that whole
actually-
romantic angle of it also.
Yeah, I've
na,
actually
that's
not
also
so
there.
much of a fan of rain. Actually, in real life, in the city, I don't like it in the city. The traffic's bad, but yeah, I don't have a solution for the industry. I don't think I'm in that position to preach. I'm still learning. I still want the answers myself. I'm pretty much on your position to understand what the
What's
seniors want to say.
Yeah, it's true. Great. Okay. What's your driving factor in life now? 2025, 2026, 2027. Let's say I'm giving you 3 years now, 2.5, 3 years. What's driving you and what are you seeking in the next coming years for yourself?
Actually, Yasha, we don't think so much.
No, I think he's a lot more driven now. Huh?
Really?
How much I couldn't
Listen, I
do.
to have a chart.
No, how much I couldn't do with him in like say 18 years. His wife has done in the last 2 years. 2 years you're married now?
2 years, yeah.
See? 18 years what I couldn't do with him. He's a lot more driven. He's doing a lot more work.
He's just
doing
being humble about it.
it's
Bata hi nahi rahe ho. Hame pata hai lekin.
She's amazing, I'm telling you. Like she's really got him out there to like really work a lot more, which is a very good thing, I think. I see him a lot more. I'm not that focus was never the issue with him. That we had to tell him to not focus sometimes. We had to tell him like leave it. It's okay.
I'm very chill. जो हो रहा है ठीक है.
No, he's very focused and in his world. He's like Yudhishthir.
Yudhishthir.
Yeah, he just like he's focused on that one thing, and he's never can't lie about it and this that. I think his wife has really brought a lot more uh, enterprising thing in him. He's working a lot more. I think, as in, working a lot more. Not, I don't think he worked less. He's learned to diversify also, which is very good. But yeah, I'm not saying this for him, I'm just saying it for both of us. Every film we do, in the end, we wanted to do well, is so that we can work on more. Right? Every song you do
Yeah.
is like, it's the experience, so that you can live the experience when money comes and stuff like that. But the process of working together with each other one more time, I mean, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
It's in the end, you'll get a new car, you'll earn the money. I swear you'll enjoy the car for what, 2 months? Right? After that, it's like any other car that you have,
Yeah.
right?
Any other car.
Agreed.
So I
But we
think,
knew this pretty early in
Yeah.
our career. I think we were blessed enough to understand this. बहुत पहले ही, I think we were blessed with some good wisdom and guidance around us. That पहले ही हमको ये बात समझ में आ गई थी. And we were never. So I think that's why today there's not much of a change. I think the genesis is pretty sound. As you said, the foundation has been so strong that what our focus was is still the same. Maybe a little more diversification, as he said, that I'm doing a lot more concerts now.
Yeah.
So earlier I would like the silence of the studio. अब मैं जाता हूँ, when I see the way people react to my songs on stage, I see my audience. That's something I'd never seen earlier.
And that instant validation helps, na? Just the reaction.
I think validation may not be the right word, Isha. I would not use
Affection.
that. I think it's more of a conversation. When I see them cry, when I see what that song means to them, I realize all the more that how important it is for me to show up at the studio.
Right.
And that's kind of been a new driving factor for me. My concerts, my production has spread a little more. I'm traveling with, I'm also looking at reinvesting in the Indian film orchestra in terms of bringing in more live musicians. I want to convince him to do a live orchestra for the next film.
What fun. What fun. That would be great.
So, while the heart of Mithun and Mohit remains the same,
Yeah.
we just want to make them, spread the message a little
M
more.
square into 1,000. Okay, before I let the both of you go, I'm just going to put in what I'm secretly hoping that happens with the both of you. एक जो आप लोग ने खुद ही बोल दिया कि there's so many songs in the background which should release.
Yeah.
So please do that. Let's have like a collaboration where we get to hear the treasure जो हमें सुनना है. Possible? Can that happen?
I would love that. I would
Great.
love
I've got a great title for it. I think we should call it Mithun and Mohit Unreleased.
unreleased.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
I think we should do that. That should happen. And my second thing is, okay, I loved Malang as the film.
Oh, really?
Like,
Okay.
I loved it. There are a lot of films that I've loved. There are a lot of emotion scenes that I've loved. And oh shit, that reminds me, I have one more question for you, Mohit. Okay, I'm going to ask you this. But before, can you make a Malang 2? Is that going to happen ever?
Yeah, the thing is, yeah, like whether it's a Murder 2 or Ashiki 2 or whatever, and I made some sequels which for the wrong reasons also. I've done that with other films also. What I've learned, the thing is, as I said, I don't know, I don't have the answer. I'm learning still. So I've sometimes made it. What I've learned in my process in this is when I have a script is when there should be a sequel.
Okay.
Not because there is a commercial enterprise and a feasible business model. Because here, yeah, no matter what you say, this is in our field, Saraswati comes first before Lakshmi. In our field, basically. So it's only when the art works is when the commerce follows. If you do it because of commercial reasons, it normally it's I've done it and it's not done well. As I said, I would make Ashiki. I would have made Murder also as another film, even whether it was called Murder 2 or Ashiki 2.
Or Ashiki, yeah.
So I've made those mistakes and I've learned from it, and that's what the process of growing up is. Malang, if I love Ranjan, okay, and he's one of my best friends, and he's a guy's guy, dude. He's like a guy, like if honestly, if Mithun is close to me, completely on the other side of the spectrum, there could be some family members of mine who I would call in the middle of the night and they wouldn't come, but love will be there. And I would like to make that from him, but that's something that he would want to make,
Yeah.
and that depends on him. So this is officially me telling Love Ranjan, I'm available, guy, in case you want to make it.
Yeah, we
Because I think he's one of the best writers also. He contributed a lot to Malang.
Yeah.
although I had the script and everything, but his he's what you would call a perfect creative producer, and he's one of the sharpest minds we have today. So I think it's more his decision than mine.
Also, the thing which I was thinking was that you then tend to have a tendency to also repeat your actors in
Yes.
your films, right? Which was great. Like, for example, when Disha came back after Malang to do Ekvillain 2 also, whether it was Shraddha also,
Yeah.
it's a great process that
Yeah.
happened. Arjun, after, I think, Half Girlfriend. That process, that involvement, does it happen because now you tend to know these people as better actors and you know that somewhere in your head you can get better in between
I
action
think they
and
trust
cut?
me more. I think they like me also more.
It's a two-way
I think
street.
they enjoy that process. I think I'm not saying this pompously, but I can confidently say that yeah, some of their best performances have happened with me.
Yeah.
So I think they enjoy that also.
Okay. Since we all know that Alia is your cousin, when you
Yeah.
see her journey right now, how do you feel as a director, completely
You know-
professionally detached?
That's the only way I look at her. The thing is, I remember I made my first film, and Wo Lameo Baate was, he had done the original then, but we wanted an extra song, so I remixed it. And Bhatt Sahab and Mukesh ji, because I was young, I used to go to clubs at that time, and I knew how people used to remix songs in the night and dance on them and stuff like that. And I kept begging them, let me remix it. So I got a non-film guy called Suketu, who's today one of my best friends, and I asked him to remix it. But Sab and Mukesh ji and the music company didn't really understand the value of it. They were like, what have you done? It is such a nice, soulful song, you ruined it. I remember Alia was 10 years old or something, I remember, and she heard it and she saw the video and she was like this. She always had that commercial, that commercial mind of hers is something else. But at the same time, I remember when my daughter was born, and she just, I think, student of the year had come out, she'd come to see my daughter. And I was just talking about the experience of how I felt when I held my daughter for the first time and this, that. I could see her tearing up, and I realized the kind of EQ she has. I message her when I really like her performances, and she replies back and we talk and all. But I think she's such a phenomenal actor and such a phenomenal talent that me as a director, unless I feel there is a role that is really living up to her, I will never try to exploit that relationship ever.
Great.
Ever.
That's lovely.
Because I would never do that I've never done that with any of my actors either. But especially not with her because of being such a phenomenal talent. So I'm never going to exploit the star called Alia Bhatt. But I will always want to work with an actor called Alia Bhatt.
Let's say also that you made some stars, you've given us some stars, which is also a credit you were given.
She keeps telling me, why are you making the other girls look so pretty? No, she's actually someone I show her my songs, I send her my songs. She's a great mind. She's a great person to bounce it around. I mean, not too oftenly, but she asks for it, I do. And I think she's got a great mind. She's a great talent. So I'm in awe of that talent.
Lovely. This was a soulful chat. I got to know you guys a little better. You for the first time,
really?
of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mithun to हमने बात की हुई है. I'm happy to hear you talk this time थोड़ा ज़्यादा from the previous
This
time.
was a lot. I thought I was hogging too much of the
No, I have seen it
conversation.
before. Mithun is like, ठीक है. हाँ. Now today we've actually chatted. Maybe the fourth time I meet you, you'll probably do a longer chat with me as well. He takes time to open up. I think he's like, मेरे गाने बात करेंगे.
Get in with his wife. See how much he talks then.
Yeah, Palak
That'll
also
be
is
a
chatty,
good
but yeah, actually that's a great idea. I'm going to get you and Palak
Yeah.
together. Maybe maximum content then, but then Palak will also
That
chat.
episode, please send me the link. I will watch because I want to see how he chats. Like I remember, this is a really great story. He came to my set saying, "I have a song." In my climax when I'm shooting Murder 2. So I was shooting the climax, all that stuff. We were running, as usual, we were running behind time, all that. We finished it, and there was this song called "Fir Mohabbat Karne Chala Hai Tu." I asked him, and that time he didn't have anyone in his life. I said, "How did you write this song?"
हाँ, inspiration कहाँ से आया? बताइए दो अभी आज.
And it was so much depth that it's so nuanced. And he turned out and said, "No, I got it from you."
From you.
So I said, "That much time I'm not spending with you."
Wow, Mithun, your inspirations are very
No, but
different.
the thing is, I probably was talking my heart out to everybody. It's always the one who listens. There's a difference between listening and hearing.
Yeah.
And he actually got it. And that's how such magic came out.
Has Palak inspired you ever to put a composition together? जो आया है या आने वाला है?
No, not really. I think for me, Vesha, my emotions that way are very subconsciously involved. You know, Mohit is he's very transparent as a filmmaker. And मैंने पहले भी कहा कि इनको झिझक नहीं है कि अपने vulnerabilities को पर्दे पे डालने से. So when he enters the studio, he'll talk about his vulnerabilities, he'll talk about his failures, he'll talk about his challenges very, very openly. So that when I'm hearing to something so powerful, so strongly, he would sometimes even enact scenes and show me. You know, that's why when many a time when I see the film preview, I realize the actor is actually imitating him so much because I've seen those scenes.
अंदर का actor director के अंदर.
नहीं, trust me.
I think you should do a little cameo in your film.
I'm come from a family of directors. I mean, if you don't know this, Mr. Bhatt, my grandfather was a director. Dharmesh Darshan is my cousin. Sunil Darshan is my cousin. Milan Luthria is my cousin. We are a family of directors. So the stars in our family were always directors. Imran was the one guy who became into an actor.
Actor,
Which I think actually he can direct also. He's a great sharp mind. But the girls became actresses. Like my sister, Alia, my grandmother, Pooja. They all became actresses. So we're pretty much good with directing.
Good
I think.
directing. Mohit, you want to
But
complete?
yeah.
No, I think that it all comes down to how much can you stir up an artist. You know, we are very much like we have the firepower, like the firepower, but we need someone to, you know, just give us that ignition, ignite us, stir us up. You know, and I think that's something all the great filmmakers have done. I've heard so much from how Subhash Ghai Saab would inspire Lakshmikant Perilal to, you know, to give him their best. I've heard so many stories of Mani Ratnam sir and Rahman sir of, you know, how they would stir him up. And I feel that this process of Jugalbandi because filmmaking is it's not just one aspect, it's not just one dimensional as a medium. There's so much coming together. So I feel that conversation and stirring up of each other is very, very important, and that's something I've always never lacked when I worked with him.
Amazing. That's good to know. You mentioned A.R. Rahman. He actually happened to mention this to me literally last month, where he said that whether it's criticism or whether it is somebody praising my work, I don't let either of it affect me. I'm neutral. That's the reason I can compose and give every time what I want to give out, rather than
Fair.
given that expectation of what the audiences want. And I feel that's exactly what you also said in the
Exactly.
starting, so did you.
Exactly.
But this was great. Thank you so much to the both of you, and I'm looking forward to Sayar, and I'm looking forward to, I think, all the speculations also that are coming out. Ki ye bhi aa rahi, ye bhi aa rahi, ye bhi aa rahi.
I
So
wish,
that's a great thing.
I wish I was doing so many movies.
Maza aa
Making
jayega.
so much
Bo-
money. Now I don't think that's happening, but yeah.
Whenever it does happen in that case, but all the very best for
Thank you.
everything that you do as well, everything that you do as
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you so much for your time. To everybody out there watching, thank you so much for watching. Do like, share and subscribe to Varinder Chawla's YouTube page. Thank you.